사장님을 다시 한번 무대로 모시겠습니다. 최성갑 사장님. 네, 사장님께서 발표해 주시는 동안 많은 기자님께서 질문을 보내주셨는데요. 시간 관계상 가장 많이 질의하셨던 부분 먼저 저희가 답변을 드리려고 합니다. 보다 많은 질문을 저희가 커버하기 위해서 통역은 동시 통역으로 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 네, 첫 번째 질문에 대해서 폭스바겐 EV 로드맵에 대한 질문들이 있었는데요. 첫 번째 질문은 폭스바겐 본사에서 2030년까지 총 판매 50%를 EV 모델로 가져가겠다고 선언한 바 있습니다. 이에 대해 폭스바겐 코리아의 전략에 대한 문의들이 있었는데요. 폭스바겐 코리아 스테판 크랍 사장님의 답변 들어보겠습니다.
Okay. So welcome from my side once more, and thanks for this question. Yeah, as already mentioned in the presentation, the EV market will gain more and more importance, especially in Korea and even maybe faster in Korea than in other markets. But from my point of view, the market and the customer readiness and the demand at the end does define the EV penetration in the market. As you have seen in the presentation, Volkswagen finally will enter the EV market in Korea in 2022 with the ID.4. The ID.4, I think it's not a secret, is already a global bestseller. And we are also confident that the ID.4 will be successful in the Korean market, especially as the ID.4 will also follow our 3A strategy, what I just presented, which means more accessible, more affordable, and more advanced. Besides the ID.4, we plan to further accelerate the electrification in Korea by launching later additionally ID family models, especially in the key segments and body styles.
네, 감사합니다. ID.4 모델 이야기가 나왔으니까요. 관련 질문들을 한번 뽑아보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 사장님께서는 ID.4의 가격 정책을 어떻게 가지고 가실 것인지.
The question, I think the second question was related to the competitors. The ID.4 will compete based on its product characteristics naturally with other electric SUVs, for sure. But our intention is that the ID.4 not only competes with these electric SUVs, but also against other EVs, maybe in the same price range, but also to square up against the traditionally powered SUVs.
네, 감사합니다. 다음으로는 올해 폭스바겐의 판매 목표에 대해서 알려달라는 질문들이 있었습니다. 이에 대해서 사장님의 답변 들어보도록 하겠습니다.
Yeah. With the launch of this great car here on my left, so with the launch of the new T1, of the Arteon successor, and finally the rebirth of the Volkswagen Icon Golf, as well as what I presented in the presentation, the implementation of our 3A strategy for the full model lineup, Volkswagen, I personally believe, will close the gap to the top two brands in the import market. The question linked to the annual sales number, I think that was the question, to the annual sales number, for me personally is secondary, to be honest. Why? First of all, we had limited supply in the first half of the year. And second of all, and I think that's not a secret, everybody knows, the industry is still facing a challenging environment, especially due to the semiconductor supply. Nevertheless, I believe that we are capable to sell in the next 3 to 4 months, as soon as we have the full model lineup in place. I'm convinced that we will sell more cars in this 3 to 4 months than we have sold YTD. I personally strongly believe in the success of the just presented Volkswagen 3A strategy. And let me allow that comment as well, regardless from concrete figures. As also announced by Mr. Zellmer earlier in the Media Day presentation, we believe in the potential of the Korean automotive market, and we do trust in our products. And a matter of fact, accessible premium is what Korean customers want.
네, 감사합니다. 자, 티관의 또 하이라이트를 많이 해주셨는데요. 신형 티관에 이어 올스페이스 출시에 대한 궁금증도 질문으로 올려주셔가지고요. 이 부분도 한번 들어보겠습니다.
Okay, that's a fairly simple question, a little bit shorter answer on that one. Yeah, the Allspace as well as the Atlas and the ID4, these three models will complement our lineup in 2022.
네, 아주 간단한 답변이었고요. 다음은 저희 현업에서도 굉장히 많이 듣고 있는 질문이긴 한데, 폭스바겐이 오늘 EA288 이보 엔진을 탑재한 디젤 파워트레인을 선보인다고 했는데, 이는 앞으로도 디젤 라인업에 더 집중한다는 것은 아닌지에 대한 질문과, 그리고 왜 디젤 라인업에 집중하는지에 대한 질문 많이 주셨습니다.
Okay, yeah, I was actually expecting that question already, as it also comes up many times in the discussion with you, with the journalists. As I mentioned at the beginning, I think was the first question I answered, talking about the EV market. So even so the EV market will grow rapidly, the majority of the customers, and that's our belief as well as the industry belief, still will focus on combustion-equipped vehicles midterm. What does midterm mean? I mentioned it already before. Combustion engines will still dominate for the next 10 to 15 years, probably even longer. And this trend we cannot and we won't neglect, the same way as we can't and won't neglect the growing importance of the EV market. At the end, as always in life, I would say, a balanced approach is the key. But for us, our aspiration at the same time is to offer the best technical solution to our Korean customers at the same time. So the new EA288 Evo engine with the twin dosing technology, and you saw the video in the presentation as well, is the best Volkswagen currently offers. It's the best in regards of emission, consumption, performance, and comfort. It was also mentioned in the presentation, I think it's always a hot topic and always a heavily asked question. This engine already fulfills Euro 7. Euro 7 is a standard which is scheduled to take effect from 2025 onwards. As I said, or translated, the engine will reduce NOx emissions by 80% versus the existing engine generation. That's best in class, and that's also a reason why we do focus on diesel engines. We do commit ourselves to only sell the EA288 Evo engine with the twin dosing technology in Korea from now on, 100%.
네, 감사합니다. 그럼 여기에 조금 이어지는 질문을 드려볼까 하는데요. 앞으로 그렇다면 구체적인 가솔린과 하이브리드 모델, 전기차 도입 시점은 어떻게 되는지에 대해서 또 질문을 해주셨습니다.
Okay. Yeah, I just mentioned a balanced portfolio, of course, at the end is the key. And therefore, the simple answer would be yes. In terms of diversification, our drivetrain portfolio, besides our commitment, as I said, to only sell the EA288 Evo engines from now on, of course, more petrol vehicles and, of course, more EV vehicles will complement the Volkswagen portfolio in the midterm. The Jetta, for example, made the beginning and was quite successfully launched in the market. Just to name a few more, to be a little bit more concrete, the Atlas, the Golf, and also the T1 Allspace, for example, will be also equipped with petrol engines.
네, 감사합니다. 다음 질문은 이걸로 해볼게요. 최근 폭스바겐 본사는 2035년까지 내연기관 생산을 중단한다고 선언했는데요. 이에 대해 코리아는 내연기관 판매를 언제까지 이어나갈 건지에 대한 질문이었습니다.
Okay, yeah. I think there was a lot of news in the newspaper recently, a lot of communication from the headquarters, especially circling around the year 2035. So let me maybe touch that one a little bit more in detail. 2035, this stands for the discontinuation of the sales for combustion engines in Europe. So apart from Europe, the transition can be different. That really depends on each country's situation. Nevertheless, the headquarters strategy, of course, is setting the framework. But at the end, the Korea-specific roadmap depends on the market, the segment, and also the development, and also like the customer demand. The EV market, I said it will gain more importance. That's out of question. But again, currently, we will forecast that the ICE will still dominate the next 10 to 15 years. And last but not least, I think it's also quite an important point to take into consideration when we completely will stop selling ICEs is the topic of infrastructure. Infrastructure, especially for EV, is another key success factor and has to be closely monitored.
네, 감사합니다. 지금 시간이 얼마 안 남았어요. 저희가 한 2개 정도 더 할 수 있을 것 같아요. 다음 질문으로는 오늘 사장님께서 3A 스트래티지에 대해서 발표를 하시면서 모 어세서블 부분에서 가격 재조정을 선언을 하셨습니다. 그런데 그렇다면 더 이상 파격적인 할인 혜택은 이제 없는 것이냐, 그렇다면 또 실제로 고객이 구입하는 혜택은 이전과 동일한 것은 아닌지에 대한 질문을 받았습니다.
Okay, yeah, quite a good question, especially yeah, if you follow the trend currently in the market, which is, I have to admit, not only from Volkswagen side partially, but also from the other competitors, quite discount driven. But let me start a little bit more from the macro perspective. Yeah? From my perspective, the key difference between an MSRP reduction and a discount is basically the sustainability. Yeah? Discounts are reactive measures. They are mainly driven by competitive environment or supply. This we want to change. Volkswagen want to be, as I said in the presentation, more accessible, but we want to be more accessible permanently. Yeah? So, in other words, a customer does not have to wait for a fortunate coincidence to get a good price on a Volkswagen in the future. Also shown in the presentation, and that's besides the MSRP reduction, Volkswagen is adding additional products and services on top for free. Now, just to name a few, the 5-year warranty, 150,000 kilometer extended warranty program, and our ACTS, our accident program we have just added, they are added value for the customer. They are sustainable added value for the customer. But again, to answer the question more precise, the final price a Korean customer has to pay in the future definitely will be lower. Volkswagen will be more accessible, more affordable, and more advanced.
네, 답변 감사합니다. 그럼 마지막 질문을 한번 드려보겠습니다. 신형 티구안의 초도 판매 물량과 또 티구안의 올해 국내 판매 목표에 대한 질문이 들어왔는데요. 마지막 질문 답변 드리고 네, 마무리하려고 합니다.
Okay, I think most of you already know me quite well, and I think there's always a pattern when you ask me questions on concrete numbers, even for the last 4 years. So you most likely can expect that I will not precisely answer you the expectations. But let me again start a little bit more in general. As you know, the Tiguan is a proven bestseller worldwide. The car had been sold already more than 6 million times since the car had been launched. Also in Korea, the Tiguan is benchmark in the import SUV segment, I would say. The Tiguan, for example, has named more than 20 times the monthly best-selling model since the car had been launched in Korea. And this is, I think, the key, the new Tiguan even got more advanced, more affordable, and, correct, with the new price positioning, of course, more accessible than ever. I personally believe that the new Tiguan, no, I'm sure, not I don't believe, I'm sure that the new Tiguan will set a new standard in the import SUV market. So basically, the Tiguan perfectly represents what we have seen in the presentation, presents accessible premium. Yeah? And based on that, and this is the link to talking about the potential, the volume of the Tiguan in the Korean market, because of that, I'm sure the Tiguan will break the previous sales records. I mentioned the semiconductor issue before. We already received a solid supply of the car, but as I said, I have full beliefs in the car, and I'm not sure if even the solid supply we got might be enough, because this car here, the new Tiguan, is just simply, it's a great car.
네, 감사합니다. 스테판 그룹 사장님. 시간 관계상 Q&A는 여기서 마치도록 하겠습니다. 주어진 시간 내에서